What is going on, everybody? Scapegoat here. Welcome to the Goat Time podcast. Today we are going over the rulings provided by Distantcoder. He's going to quiz us all on a little bit of, I don't know, rulings, I guess, right? He's going to make us look like idiots.
Something like that.
But yeah, as you know, Coder is our special guest today, and we have a lot of other people, such as Annie Evie. How you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Nice, nice. Benji?
Oh, I can't wait to get destroyed by all these rulings.
Awesome. Neshi?
Oh, let's get down to this. I'm always ready.
Worst duelist in Europe, Tatsum?
I am here to answer all questions correct the first time and steal Coder's job.
Sure, I'm down.
We also have
Shade.
the Don Juan and Token Black coming in here sometime soon, hopefully, but that's going to be pretty much it for the cast for tonight. Other than that, we do have our sponsor, Yugioh Shiro. Yugioh Shiro makes a lot of playmats. He does quite a bit of good work with the field centers and all that jazz. So feel free to check him out at yugiohshiro.com. And tonight we are also giving away a Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal deck storage box for one of the people in the chat. All you have to do is type in the good old Distantcoder, and you'll be entered in that. So that's
Wait,
on
what?
the screen.
my name, yo, well, just give me the box, easy.
Oh, okay. I don't ship to Canada.
Oh wow. Okay,
Oh,
Ships to the Netherlands, doesn't ship to Canada. Makes
wow,
sense.
I'm not sending you any maple syrup, dude. Yikes.
Oh, dude. Oh, all right. Well. So that's up for grabs. And also, Shiro did make us a little playmat for today. Well, not a playmat, but it's a background picture. It is Coder giving us the sauce. So he's gonna
Whoa,
be...
show.
Yo.
Oh,
I can put it in.
you can
the-
see it on the Scapegoat stream. I
Well, I'll
think.
put it in the
Screen
Discord so
share,
you can
screen
just-
share, screen share.
Look
Oh, it's in the
at
Discord?
Don Juan. That's so funny.
Court. There you go. Right in the general.
Yo, Pog. What the fuck?
You
Yo,
got
I'm down.
Don Juan in the middle, and you got everybody else in the mid, and then Coder up top.
It's me. That's me.
So I'm going to officially relinquish hosthood to our Distantcoder for tonight.
Oh my god. Okay.
He's going to go through everybody. You can feel free to ask people one by one, and I'll tally up the points for whoever gets them right or wrong.
So are we actually doing? I'm telling you right now. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I didn't prepare anything, so all I'm doing is delving deep into the mind of all the freaking rulings that I've had to issue for the longest time. I feel like Tatsum is gonna know literally every single one of them, but I'm sure I can stump him with at least one or two. That's gonna be yeah.
I'm gonna call that. Yeah.
You're gonna call it? You think
Yeah,
I can
I've
stump
been
you?
seeing
Yeah, you think I
plenty
can
of
stump you, or you
them.
think you're good, Tatsum?
I know some obscure shit, man.
Okay, well, I can start with some of the simpler stuff because I genuinely don't know if anyone in here are like Duel Links players or TCG players and stuff like that. And the last thing I want to do is pull up these rulings that are literally gonna freaking make people like have to read like 14 cards that they've never read in their life.
Well, you're the host, man. You do whatever you want.
Okay. Well, if I get to just go ham, then we can just get right into it. Okay. I can start with some easy stuff. This is one that Tatsum is for sure gonna know because this is okay.
Are you gonna shout the answer, or are you gonna do like turns?
Heck if I know, dude. Heck if I know. We can start with the easy stuff. Okay. You know what? Here's what I'll do. I'll even screen share DB for you guys so that we can all read the cards together.
Okay.
We can read all the cards together. Let's see. Pull this up and share the dueling books. Boom. The dueling books. So if you guys want to follow along, go right ahead.
Mm-hmm.
So, get the default deck out. Boom. All right. So the first ruling is going to be super simple. Easy stuff. Easy stuff. We're going to start with Invoked because it's everyone's favorite archetype. We're going to go Invoke Mechaba. Invoked Mechaba. And Ash, Blossom, and Joyous Spring. Okay?
Hmm.
And alongside that, we're going to grab a Ghost Bell. Ghost Bell. Very simple stuff, okay? Very simple stuff. If an effect is used as chain link 1 that you can chain Ash to. Okay? So you chain the Ash Blossom, and then you chain the invoked Mechaba, which has the effect to negate and banish the card that it is negating. Afterwards, in chain to Mechaba, can you chain the effect of Ghost Bell, which says when a card or effect is activated that includes any of these effects, you can discard this card to get the activation, and one of those effects is banish a card from the graveyard.
No.
I don't think so.
For what reason?
No.
Because Ash Blossom activates in the hand.
Okay. Will the Ash Blossom still be
Blossom.
banished?
No.
Ash is discarded as cost and is treated as another card. The card can't be banished because it doesn't exist in the hand. So it was never going to be banished.
Oh,
Okay, so we can go to the advanced stuff now. You guys have passed. You guys have passed like fifth grade Yu-Gi-Oh. We can go off to high school Yu-Gi-Oh.
Benji, you're
High
supposed
school
to play
Yu-Gi-Oh.
dumb, dude. What are you doing?
Okay, if we're not gonna be playing dumb, then I'll just go straight into the big stuff. All right, it's time to pull out the Wicked cards. The Wicked Dreadroot.
Uh-oh. Oh no.
Now we have some fun.
Oh my god.
The
We're
Wicked
starting.
Dreadroot. The Wicked Dreadroot.
okay.
And what's it fucking called? Dark Rebellion XYZ Dragon. Dark Rebellion XYZ Dragon. Okay? So, I control Dark Rebellion XYZ Dragon. My opponent controls the Wicked Dreadroot. So the Wicked Dreadroot has the effect that says this card cannot be normal summon set except by tributing 3 monsters, and has the continuous effect that says have the attack and defense of all monsters on the field except this card. Okay? And Dark Rebellion XYZ Dragon has the effect you can detach 2 materials, target a face-up monster your opponent controls. Its attack becomes half its current attack, and if it does, this card gains that lost attack. If I control Dark Rebellion XYZ, my opponent controls the Wicked Dreadroot, and I use the effect of my Dark Rebellion XYZ on the opponent's Wicked Dreadroot. What are the stats of my Dark Rebellion XYZ Dragon after the effect of it resolves?
3250.
Do we have any other answerers?
Wait, how much attack does the Wicked Dreadroot have again? 4K?
The Dreadroot has 4K. The Dark Rebellion XYZ has 2500. The effect. Okay. Do we have anyone that says anything other than
Oh
3250?
my god, give me a sec. I need to read this card.
I think I agree with that.
No, there's no reason Dreadroot's effect should apply again. So I'm gonna lock in 3250.
Is there no reason that it should not apply again? Are you sure about that?
It has applied. Why would it apply again? It's still applying.
Okay. Okay.
He's
okay.
trying to throw us for a loop.
I mean, I have thrown you for a loop because the answer is 2250. The reason why the answer is 2250 is because the Wicked cards are strange in the way that they function. The Wicked cards are... I don't really know how to explain it, but it's just that the Wicked cards are always the last cards to be applied, even though their effects that are continuous effects applied, like, seem to apply the same way as others. But the Wicked cards are always applied last. So in the situation of this, where you would Dark Rebellion XYZ on the Wicked Dreadroot, what'll actually end up happening is your Dark Rebellion XYZ will consider its original attack when adding the Wicked Dreadroot's boost. So the Dark Rebellion XYZ will add 2k to its own attack, boosting it to 4500, and then the Wicked Dreadroot will apply afterwards, having it to 2250.
I need a source on this.
You need a source?
Can
There's actually
appeal?
you can appeal, but I'm telling you that is how that works. You can ask literally
head judge.
anyone who. Okay, so the thing is the reason why there's actually other, how can I put this? There's other sources and like precedent set for how these cards work, and due to the precedent set for how the Wicked cards work, put Tatsum on 0%. What do you mean, dude? Why would I do that? Yo, you're being called out by Suffer, bro.
Oh, bro.
Can ban him in chat now.
Yo, ban Suffer. No, I'm joking. But yeah, so that is the interaction with how Dark Rebellion works with the Wicked Dreadroot. It's one of those really strange attack mod questions, because like the attack mod things, like if you pull up stuff like this, right? If you pull up things like the Wicked Avatar,
Oh, that card's insane.
it's not. So
like
the Wicked Avatar
Azathoth.
says, how's it like Azathoth? What? Oh, I mean, yeah, with the
Once
spells
it
and traps, yeah.
summons-
What I'm talking about, this effect, the one that matters. The attack and defense of this card are each 100 points higher than the highest attack on the field.
Oh,
This will always be applied last, regardless of whether what other attack mods are applied to the card. This will always be applied last. That is just how the precedent for the Wicked Avatars have been set due to the rulings about them. Yeah.
But it's just like these three very hyper, because I knew the Wicked Avatar ruling for some reason. I know this.
Yeah.
But it's just someone somewhere stated that it is for all three the Wicked cards.
Yeah, it's basically how the Wicked cards work. Yeah.
I love this game.
Yeah, yo, don't you love Konami said so? Yo, can you activate Kaiju Slumber while there's a Kaiju on field?
Yes, because Konami said so.
Then why can't you activate it when there's Fossil Dine on field, you know? It's just that weird. Like, it's really just that strange.
No, it's true.
But
okay,
do you know the interaction between the Wicked Avatar and number 64 Ronin Raccoon. I forgot about that one.
What the heck is number 64?
Token that's equal to the biggest.
You don't know number 64?
I don't know number card. You literally have to tell me what the it's this thing.
Freaking raccoon, man.
Oh, if you'd have said Sendayu, I would have known what you're talking about.
What?
I don't know. This part is irrelevant.
Raccoon after that.
You said Ronin Raccoon. This doesn't.
Okay,
Sendayu is what matters.
And then Raccoon. What's the only XC's Raccoon?
Sendayu.
Well, it just summons a token and equal to the attack that Avatar currently has. And after the token is summoned, Avatar's attack goes plus 100.
Yeah, it'll just go +1, right?
Yeah.
That makes sense. I don't see why it would be anything different. Like, genuinely, don't see why it would be anything different.
It's not gonna like re-raise every time.
I'm actually curious. Do I have my documents that I made with Lantern? Because oh my god, there's some wild stuff in there. Let me check Google Docs. I have some wild rulings. I did this like series of videos where I did some really whack interactions in
That's when you were trying to break Omega?
Yeah, exactly. Do I have the rulings doc? Oh my god, I do.
I know some obscure rulings as well. So
oh my god, I do have these. Oh my lord. Okay, we can have some fun with this. We can definitely have some fun with this. Okay. I'll put some cards in a deck, and then we'll actually jump into a rated game to do this. So I'm looking for. Well, no, a solo game. I mean, okay. Scarm. I need Interrupt Resistor.
Okay,
Interrupt Resistor school.
I'm stepping out.
No, trust. It's not. You don't have to read Interrupt Resistor. Don't worry. Okay. Solemn Strike. I bet you know what that does.
That's actually the best thing someone has ever said to me today.
The what?
You don't have to read Interrupt.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so I'm gonna hop into a solo duel. This is gonna be fun. I like this one. This is a very good one, actually. With the default deck. Okay. So here's the interaction. You're actually gonna have to read Interrupt Resistor, but it's not an effect that's very complicated. Okay. So Interrupt Resistor has the effect that says when you take battle damage, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, it gains attack equal to the damage you took. Cool. And then it says once per turn during damage calculation, when another defense position monster you control is attacked by your opponent's monster, you can activate this effect. During this damage calculation, your attacked monster defense becomes equal to this card's defense, also cannot be destroyed by that battle. So you control Interrupt Resistor and a face-down Scarm. All right? Your opponent swings into your Scarm. So as we know, monsters that are set are flipped before performing damage calculation. So the Scarm is flipped here. And then you activate the effect of Interrupt Resistor that says during damage calculation, whenever defense position monster you control is attacked by an opponent's monster, quick effect, activate this effect, and it's going to be negated by the Solemn Strike. So the question is, does the Scarm die at any point? If it does, at which point in the battle phase, in the damage step, does it die? Or if it doesn't, why not?
The moment it flips face up, it dies.
You think the moment it flips face up, it dies?
Yeah.
Based on the wording of the question, he said you wouldn't even have the opportunity to activate interrupt resistor if that was the case. So I want to assume that at the very least it lives through damage calculation, maybe till the end of damage calculation.
It dies at the end of damage calc, I'd say.
At the end of that, so during damage calc or after damage calc?
After damage calc.
I say,
imagine after,
because from what I learned after playing Burning Abyss for 7 years, it doesn't matter where in the chain link you are, right, or at what moment it is. The moment there's a monster on the field that's not a Burning Abyss, it just dies. So the moment it flips face up,
I forgot it's a Scarm.
Yeah. So we're talking about Scarm being destroyed by its own effect. I'm not talking about being destroyed by battle. I'm talking about it being destroyed by its own effect. So you guys are saying start of damage before damage calculation, this gets flipped, and then it should immediately die, and then you don't perform damage calculation?
Yes. Sure. This is honestly my weak part. I have no clue how damage calculation.
Dude, I love damage step rulings. Okay, so when it comes to an effect such as the effect of Scarm, that effect, that continuous effect that says that it's destroyed if you don't control a Burning Abyss, if you control a non-Burning Abyss monster, doesn't apply until after damage calculation. So you do go through start a damage step, before damage calculation, this gets flipped, it doesn't die yet. Perform damage calc. So if your opponent's monster is smaller than the Scarm, they'll take damage. And then after damage calculation is when the Scarm would be destroyed by its own effect. Now, the interesting interaction here, and the reason why this was a question that was brought up, is because interrupt resistor activates in the damage calculation, which is after the Scarm is flipped face up. So Scarm gets flipped face up, and then the interrupt resistor activates its effect, and you Chainsaw Strike, which destroys the interrupt resistor. Because the Scarm was face up at some point, and there was an interrupt resistor on the field, do you guys think that it would still be destroyed during after damage calculation because it was face up with another non-BA monster at some point?
Wait, that was wrong.
Or do you think that it stays face up? Oh yeah, that was wrong. It doesn't die immediately the second it flips face up.
Yeah, I think it does die after damage calculation.
I think it'll stay.
Hello, we have rulings all over the place.
Okay.
Yeah, it actually doesn't die.
Wow.
It'll only check if there's another monster on the field at the point where it would actually destroy itself, being after damage calculation.
So
because at this point, during after damage calculation, there is no non-BA monster. This doesn't die. Did this ever come up, or did Lantern think of this? This hasn't come up. This has been a Lantern thing, but the reason why Lantern did ask this question is because of another interesting ruling that's a more widely known one. This one is more widely known, and I think it's interesting to bring up. Tatsume, you'll probably know the interaction with Rhino, right?
I'm gonna say
Rhino in battle.
Wrong. So if I
or Rhino Dark
my own, Scarm doesn't die mid chain; it dies after chain, or after everything. Right?
Scarm wouldn't die mid-chain. Yeah, okay. It wouldn't die mid-chain.
Then I was
no, it wouldn't die mid-chain. So one that's really interesting is this. One that is really, really interesting is this. If you have a Fiendish Rhino Warrior and a Scarm face up, obviously the Rhino Warrior's effect protects the Scarm from being destroyed. If your opponent swings into the Rhino with a monster that's bigger than the Rhino, how does that damage step play out?
After damage calculation, the continuous effect of Rhino stops applying and Scarm will destroy itself, and then Rhino will go to the graveyard. I assume it's after the Scarm kills itself.
Yeah. Okay, yes. So basically the way this interaction works is that because the Fiendish Rhino Warrior is determined to be being destroyed by battle here, what'll end up happening is that when a monster that has a continuous effect is determined to be destroyed by battle, it will stop applying its continuous effect. So the Rhino here stops applying its continuous effect to protect all fiends. So what ends up happening here is that because its continuous effect stops applying, so it doesn't protect the Scarm anymore. The Scarm sees it's on board with a non-BA, it'll kill itself. And then after that, when you go to the end of the damage step is when the Rhino would be destroyed. An interesting thing is that if this Scarm was instead a Graph, the Graph would die, the Graph would activate, summon from deck, whatever BA it summons from deck would also die, go to the grave.
Wow.
If that was like a Seer, it would summon another BA, that BA would also die, and then after all that is when the finished Rhino Warrior actually goes to the graveyard.
All during damage calc, huh?
All that during after damage calc, actually. Yeah, during after damage calculation. God, I love these interactions.
Where Rhino Warrior doesn't apply its effect anymore. That's insane.
So you're telling me that I have to explain this during locals?
Probably not. This most likely will never happen. You're never ending on Fiendish Rhino Warrior plus a BA without making Dante.
Well, you definitely didn't play when everyone was maining Flying Sea, but sure.
True. Very true. Very true. Okay. Another interaction that's pretty cool, and this is an interaction that tends to mess up even pro players, to be honest. This is an interaction that I find really freaking hilarious. Avermax versus Avermax. Avermax versus Avermax is probably one of the best interactions ever. So I control an Avermax, and my opponent controls an Avermax. Cool? Seems simple enough. It is my turn. I go battle phase, and I attack it to my opponent's Avermax. Which Avermax is going to win this fight? So the effect that matters here is once per battle, during damage calculation, if this card battles a special summon monster, quick effect, you can make this card gain attack equal to that opponent's monster's attack during that damage calculation only. So which Avermax is going to be the winner here? The one that attacked, the one that's being attacked into?
It's always going to be the one that's not the turn player because it's always chain link 2.
The attacking one always wins.
Attacking one always wins.
Is that one the second one's chain link 2 because the turn player is always chain link 1. Then chain link 2 would gain attack, then chain link 1 would gain attack over it.
Okay. So what if this Avermax attacks into the other Avermax? And then the Avermax that's being attacked into decides he doesn't want to use his effect. He wants to wait for the opponent's Avermax to use his effect and then let it resolve, and then this Avermax wants to use his effect. Is that legal? Yes or no?
Not during damage calc. Things like that can be done with Honest at the start of the damage step, but not during damage calc.
For what reason?
I believe there's only one chain during damage calc.
I love that reasoning. That's you got the right answer for the wrong reason. That this whole idea that there's only one chain during damage calc is incorrect, and for some reason, all players seem to believe this. It's the same thing, like, for example, like, if you declare an attack, and you want to use something between the attack declaration and actually entering damage calc, people seem to believe that there's only one chain that can happen there. Like, for example, I activate an effect, I attack, my opponent does something. On resolution of that chain, a lot of people believe that you can't start a new chain with quick effects. You're immediately going into damage step. But that's not how it works. The reason why it works here is that when a monster has an effect that says something along the lines of during damage calculation, this effect can only be used during the first chain that occurs in this specific activation window. So if you had an effect such as Solemn Strike, I mean, Solemn Strike is probably not the best example that you have, but if you had an effect that was legal to activate during damage calculation, but isn't an effect that specifies during damage calculation, you'd be allowed to start a second chain during damage calc. But because this one specifies during damage calculation like this, it needs to occur during the first occurrence of this happening. So as soon as you enter during damage calculation, the first chain that occurs is when these need to be activated. They can't be held to be activated afterwards. So the only two occurrences that would happen is if turn player decides to activate, the opponent kind of has no choice but to activate, in which case turn players wins. The only situation in which both would be destroyed is if turn player simply doesn't decide to activate it. If he decides to not activate and the opponent doesn't activate, they both die. If he decides to activate, the opponent, if he decides to not activate, the opponent activates, then his would die. But yeah, That is how this interaction works.
What
I'm
would be a
curious,
scenario where there would be 2 chains in damage calc?
God, mandatory effects. Like, say for example, there was like Doomcal Knight or something like that. Does Doomcal chain? No, Doomcal does chain. What's the
Double
effect
construct.
that? You need like a mandatory effect. You'd need like a mandatory effect that triggers on resolution of the opponent activating a monster effect. Is
Would
basically
the
what you
Avermax
would need.
spin work?
No, the Avermax spin would trigger during the end of the battle phase. The end of the damage step, I should say, because that's when the monster is considered destroyed and leaves the field. Lad? Yeah, okay. Light and Darkness Dragon is one of them. Light and Darkness Dragon is most definitely one of them. Red Ice Flare? Yeah, for example, say I had like a Red Ice Flare, my opponent has Light and Darkness Dragon, and I use the Avermax, their Light and Darkness Dragon negates. My Flare would burn, and then... does Flare activate? Flare is an activated effect, I believe. Wait, does Flare activate it? Does Red Ice Flare activate?
Continuous.
Then if it doesn't activate, then you need something that would activate every single time. Interesting. But yeah, you need some kind of like really, really convoluted scenario for it to actually happen. The odds of it...
With something that doesn't let it die.
True. Ask them about Kaijus versus Avermax. Oh yeah. If you Kaiju and Avermax, does it spin? If this link summon card you control is sent to the graveyard by an opponent's card.
Yeah,
that's the player controlled effect, no? Not an effect.
Doesn't
So
say
what?
effect.
Oh.
Would activate off of being used for a mega fleet.
Yeah.
That's correct. Yeah, that's correct. It triggers regardless. If you make a mega fleet, it triggers. If you kaiju it triggers.
Oh, really?
One that I find very interesting is like Sky Striker Ace Ray versus Unchained Soul of Rage.
Yo, I'm actually dying. Everyone else is getting stuff correct, and I'm just getting everything wrong.
Yo, Tatsum, you're so bad, dude.
So, dude, I'm gonna give you my prize card because I don't deserve it anymore. Okay?
Yes, please give me the price card. I'm down. So, Sky Striker Ace Ray versus Unchained Soul of Rage. If my opponent has like a Kagari on field, and I use the effect of Unchained Soul of Rage that says during your opponent's main phase, you can target one face-up special summon monster your opponent controls. Immediately after this effect resolves, link summon one Dark Link monster except Unchained Soul of Rage by using only that opponent's monster and this card you control as material. If I link off my opponent's Kagari, can they trigger the Ray in the grave with the effect that says, while this card is in the graveyard, if a face-up Sky Striker Ace Link monster you control is destroyed by battle or leaves the field because of your opponent's card effect, you can special summon this card. Would they be able to trigger the Ray?
No.
For what reason?
No.
Because
I also think
you are applying an effect to the Kagari. The thing you're doing is like doing a link summon, which isn't a sort of effect that would let Ray trigger. I have no idea what the technical terms is, but you can.
The effect's letting you do a game mechanic. The game mechanic is not a card effect. I don't know.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. So what if the Kagari was under the effects of what's it called? Eagle Booster? Making the Kagari unaffected. Would you be able to rage link it off?
No.
I think you would. It'd be the same thing as like IP into Underworld Goddess, right?
No, you cannot storm. You cannot storm Fourth Masterpiece, right?
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Can you not? That is the question.
Still don't understand the Stormforth Masterpiece one, if I'm being honest.
The spell lets you tribute it.
I feel like that's just a Konami said so
I'm
kind
gonna
of thing.
say it leaves the field a game mechanic, but it does affect like Super Body, so Eagle Booster will protect it. The Ray will not trigger.
Tatsum is onto something. So basically, the way cards like Stormforth or like Unchained Soul of Rage work is that they use an effect, and they're basically, when you activate the effect, you need to be able to affect the opponent's monster in order to be allowed to perform the action that you're trying to do. So when you rage target a monster in order to link it off, you need to be able to affect the monster in order to be allowed to link summon using it. But the action of using it as link material is not that of an effect. So you need to be able to affect it in order to apply the effect to be allowed to use their monster, but actually using their monster is a link summon like any other. Therefore, it won't trigger something like Ray because it's not an effect that's sending it off. It's just a link summon.
So
I love these weird interactions.
So if I have a Ray,
you just target the card.
So my field is Ray and Kaiser Colosseum, and you have Unchained Soul for each. Can you activate its effect?
Kaiser Colosseum? I don't know. Probably. Freaking Kaiser Colosseum is bad. We don't ask questions like that. Oh, yeah. Actually, I'll get you one that literally judges at YCSs have misruled. We're going to talk about Gem Knights. Cool?
Yo, I love Gem Knights.
Perfect.
We're going to talk about Gem Knights. We're going to talk about one of my favorite Gem Knights, Lady Brilliant Diamond. Okay. So Gem Knight Lady Brilliant Diamond has the effect that says once per turn, you can send one face-up Gem Knight monster you control to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon a Gem Knight fusion monster from your extra deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. If you have a full board, 6 monsters, all your monster zones are full, and you have Lady Brilliant Diamond, are you allowed to activate her effect?
Yeah, because it's for cost, no?
It is not cost. It does not send for cost.
I thought it's a semicolon, no? Oh, no, you're right, yeah, common.
It's an end if you do effect.
Trying to think of another example that doesn't do it as cost.
Since it's not cost, I wouldn't be able to activate.
Isn't there something with Grapha that doesn't allow that as well or something, or am I mistaken? Because I think it's the same, and I read that like today. That might be wrong. So I'm gonna say
I feel like if you couldn't, you wouldn't be legally allowed to activate like a quick play fusion summon if you had a full board.
Thank you! Thank you! Someone said it! Because my response to that, whenever anyone says, no, I don't think you can do that, because I used to get that all the time, because I would always activate this card with a full board. This was in the combo, you'd activate this with a full board. And people would always call judge. And there was even a judge at the NAWCQ 2019 that ruled that I couldn't. And my response to that every single time is, are you telling me that I cannot activate polymerization with a full board? And everyone always takes a step back and says, wait a minute. Yeah, you obviously can poly with a full board if you're making a fusion monster that uses a monster from your board. You know what I mean?
I'm legit at this point thinking you're tricking me with every question, so I'm just saying
1000%.
Well, that's the one thing. That's the one thing.
Point of this show.
Well, more or less, it's that the thing that you have to keep in mind a lot of the time is that if I'm bringing up a ruling, it's not like I'm not trying to trap you or trick you or anything like that. Like I'm genuinely just bringing up cool interactions, and not everything is a trick question. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Coder, can you do the Gamma one?
A Gamma one? Oh, Gamma's fun. We like Gamma.
Yep.
I can do a Gamma one.
Ooh, a Gamma one. What do you want to do with a Gamma?
The zoning, I guess.
Oh, okay. I know what you're asking. Cool, I got you. Let's see if I can absolutely destroy your mind right now. Okay. So we know Lagia. I like this. I like this. This is a fun one. Lagia. And literally any normal summon. I'm gonna normal summon Avram. We're gonna check this out. Normal summon Avram. My opponent activates Evil Zarlagia in order to attempt to negate the summon of my Avram. Can I chain Gamma to negate?
Yes.
Okay. Now the fun part. I am pendulum summoning. Okay, I am pendulum summoning. So I have these two. I have this and this in my scale. Is that a right scale? Cool. Yeah, this is my scale. I am attempting to pendulum summon 5 monsters from my hand. My opponent uses Lagia to negate. Can I Gamma?
Gamma, and the Gamma will resolve as much as possible.
But you have to declare how many monsters you're summoning when you do a pendulum summon. So, like,
oh yeah,
what would you do with the other monsters?
You slap 5 monsters on board. 5 monsters, like you spend 5 from hand, and your opponent Lagias. What would happen if you were to Gamma?
I feel like you can't possibly do that.
I'm gonna do
technically don't control any monsters.
I'm gonna do.
I know that's why you can do it with the other scenario, but they have to go somewhere. It can't negate something unless it summons itself, and the monsters are on the.
You technically don't have monsters on the field, but it would be weird. I think that it would be too much trouble to properly resolve it. So I'm gonna say no.
It'd be too much trouble.
Like the two monsters that
graveyard, and then the pendulum monsters will all go to the grave if you're trying to summon 5 because
No,
their
so,
summon
like,
is still
that's-
negated because Gamma won't be able to negate. That has to special summon in order to do that.
Let's say that it works. Like that's the obvious answer. It works. So you summon a Gamma and a driver from your deck or grave or wherever, and you have to fill up 2 zones. So the summon isn't, let's say, concluded yet. So do you just like pick where the Gamma and the driver will be, and those monsters will be sent to the grave or something, or what's going on? Or it makes no sense. So I'm gonna say you can't.
Yeah, I don't think you can special summon Gamma there because you
Just 'cause the
kinda
monsters
have
are
5
on the-
zones. I don't know.
Or maybe you can activate Gamma, but it just can't resolve.
Okay,
That's my
so
answer.
if you attempt to pendulum summon 5 monsters, all the monster zones that you are attempting to pendulum summon 2 are considered in use. Those zones are considered in use. You haven't successfully summoned yet, but the zones are considered to be in use. So for that reason, you're not able to activate the effect of the Gamma because you don't have any zones that are currently not in use. Like, I overcomplicated this by literally making it like, I overcomplicated it by making it that you're pendulum summoning 5. You could literally be normal summoning your freaking like master pendulum or whatever. And then if they Yugioh you, it's the same logic as to why you can't activate Gamma and summon the Gamma in the zone where you were attempting to summon the master pendulum. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
Like, I can't just be like, attempt a normal master pendulum in Monster Zone 3. Yugioh. Gamma, summon the Gamma in Monster Zone 3. Like, it doesn't make any sense. So the zone is considered to be in use. The only thing is it just doesn't, like, you don't have the summon successful just yet. You know what I mean? Here's an interesting one. I don't know if you guys like Vrains. I like Vrains. And in Vrains, there's a cool archetype by the name of Tindangle. I don't know if you guys like Tindangle cards.
I like Flip.
I'm gonna-
favorite character.
I'm gonna have you read one Tindangle card by the name of Euler's Circuit. Euler's Circuit has the effect that says, is it Euler? I don't know.
It is Euler. It's a mathematician.
Sure. Euler's Circuit. That makes sense. Sure. Once per turn, during your standby phase, you can target one Tindangle monster you control. Give control of it to your opponent. Who gives... whoa. 1 second. I'm having audio issues real quick. I should to fix that real fast. Will take me 2 seconds. God, I hate this.
I like the Gamma Yugioh thing.
I fixed
I
it.
always ask that question, but then with the Gruff and Seer, because when you overlay them and the summon gets negated, people get confused that there are monsters on the field because they're materials, which like it makes the
Okay.
question more difficult, even though it's the same as like a synchro summon.
Yeah, it's basically, yeah. You just try to overcomplicate it to like make it so that people understand how the interaction works.
Yeah.
So here, Euler's Circuit or whatever the heck. Who chooses the zone in which the Tindangle monster is given control to? Does the player who controls the card choose where the zone goes to? Or is it the one receiving it that chooses which zone it goes to?
Target one monster on the field, banish it.
I mean, you're
I
not
believe
summoning
the
it to your opponent's field, so I would assume that you're not able to choose which zone it goes into.
I go with that.
Wait, you guys say that like you choose as the turn player, or
No.
or
The opponent chooses.
I'm gonna say opponent too, because it works similarly like Farfa, and that's how Farfa works.
So the person receiving the monster chooses where it goes, or the one activating the field spell chooses where it goes?
The one receiving the monster.
On receive.
I
Okay.
receive.
So that is the case for literally every other card that has an effect such as this,
Come on.
except for this card. This is what we call an exception. Yeah, dude. So
Go, baby.
the reason why I like to believe that the reason why it's ruled that for this, the person activating the effect and giving control is because it's so that it has synergy with the actual cards in the archetype. If your opponent could just pick, you could never put it in front of the zone that the link points to. So in order to make it work with the archetype, they made it legal. And the reason why we know this is because, once again, I'm going to refer to the OCG database on this one. So if you go here, right here, there is a ruling that specifies which player chooses the monster zone it goes in. And here we have the official ruling. This from the OCG database from Konami. When you give your opponent control of your Tinling monster with the effect of Euler's Circuit, the player who activates the effect of Euler's Circuit chooses the monster zone to place that monster in. So this is like opposite to like stuff like Farfa, right? If you banish your opponent's monster with Farfa, they choose which zone it goes back to. If you take your opponent's monster with Widow Anchor, you don't get to choose which zone you give them back their monster in. They get to choose in which zone they receive the monster. As opposed to something along the lines of like a Kaiju, where you're literally summoning it to a zone on their board, so they don't get to pick, you get to pick, and things like that.
Coder 5 minutes ago, I wouldn't ask a question to trick you guys. Coder now. You prioritize
Right.
for-
Very, very
What
true.
other
Right.
cards
It's all a
give
show.
monsters to your opponent?
Cards that will something like creature swap, like literally creature swap. The players who receive the monster, like each player chooses where the monster they're receiving goes to when you activate creature swap. Something like Shien Spy as well. Yeah, Shien Spy. I believe Shien Spy also the receiving player gets to pick where it goes.
What about Geonator Transverser, huh?
Well, Geonator
Slow it down.
Transverser.
Swaps.
Let me
I mean,
let me
does he can't-
see.
Just-
Transverser already specifies where the monster goes to.
Yeah.
No, the Geonator Transverser doesn't specify which zone it goes to. It changes their positioning, but they don't have to go to the zone that Geonator points to. If this card points to two monsters, you can switch control of those monsters. Yeah, I feel as though the monster you
Okay.
receive from Geonator Transverser, you can put in the zone that you want. Literally any zone you want.
It's weird.
Odd that it works like that, but that is how cards like these tend to work, except for Euler's Circuit, which is like the one, like odd one out. You know what I mean? I want to bring the best. I want to bring the absolute best hand trap ever made in the game in. Unless you had any questions. Oh no, there's one hand trap. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Material 101 question, but you can do this one.
Oh, we could do that. We could do that one after. Yeah,
Okay.
we could
I
definitely
got
do
a
that one
question
after.
about Blackguard and token summoning.
Ooh, we could do that. We could do that one right after. I'm gonna bring the best hand trap in the game in.
What
Everyone's
kinetic-
saying What Kinetic Puppeteer, but there's one hand trap that is better than What Kinetic Puppeteer. One. And it is Engraver of the Mark.
That's a good card.
So Engraver of the Mark has a very funky effect that most people have never heard of in their entire life. Engraver of the Mark says, when your opponent activates a card or effect by declaring exactly one card name, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard, declare one other card name. The card name your opponent declares becomes the card name declared by this effect. So you can basically, if they prohibition you, you can use Engraver of the Mark to change whatever it is they declare with prohibition. Now, the question that I have is something like Ancient Gear Gadget. So for those that don't know what Ancient Gear Gadget does, it has the effect that it can declare one gadget monster card name until the end phase. This card's name becomes that name. The question that I have is, I have Engraver of the Mark in my hand. My opponent has Ancient Gear Gadget. They activate the effect of Ancient Gear Gadget and call Red Gadget. If I activate Engraver of the Mark, can I still declare the same card name? Can I just say Red Gadget? Yes or no?
You don't.
It says other.
Does it?
Declare
Ah,
one
it does.
other card name.
Easy clap, but that was not the full question. Nice.
Oh.
My other question, I wanted to see if you guys were reading, paying attention. I'm not a Yu-Gi-Oh player. I read definitely. So the actual question is, can you declare a card name that wouldn't originally be able to be declared by the Ancient Gear Gadget? Ancient Gear Gadget says you have to declare a gadget monster card name. If my opponent goes Ancient Gear Gadget, can I Engraver of the Mark and declare Elemental Hero Avian? And if so, what happens?
Because it goes against the card's mechanic. I guess. Oh, never mind. It's Yugioh. So.
Well,
Card
normally a card like this would say appropriate
Yeah.
to the effect, but the engraver of the mark doesn't say that. But this card was printed in.
It was recent.
Not that old.
It had a print in like 2002, 2020.
2002, nice.
Jeez, I've been streaming for 6 hours. I'm exhausted, man.
It's okay. So
yeah, printed in like 2020 or something like that. It had a recent print. People are saying that it was a Bosch card first.
Declare one other card name. The name of your opponent's declared becomes the card name. One other card name. It doesn't specify.
Atom, you should know that this card has a recent print. It was in the Drytron set.
Do you think I read any card
any
except
card
the
into a
Drytrons?
Prisma.
Wow, dude.
I'm gonna say you can't, just because that's how the game should work. But I will probably be wrong.
You'd be right. You can't declare a name that wouldn't work for something like for Ancient Gear Gadget. You'd have to declare a different gadget monster card name. You wouldn't be allowed to declare like Elemental Hero Avion, for example, or something like that. That wouldn't be a legal thing that you can do in Engraver of the Mark.
I'm imagining this poor Ancient Gear Gadget player at locals who really needs a green gadget, and you're just switching it to yellow gadget.
Everyone's citing Engraver of the Mark for the Ancient Gear matchup.
Nah, dude, you cited for like Prohibition, dude. Like those mind players activating Prohibition and being like, "Yo, Cosmic Cyclone," and you go, "Nah, Obelisk the Tormentor."
Or Mystic Mine. You know, let them play
Your
it.
opponent normal summons Prisma, and you Engraver of the Mark declares some other wacky thing.
I believe Prisma sends, does it not? It like reveals and sends. It doesn't declare a name, does it?
Declare. That's right.
It shows a
Kinda
monster and
cool.
sends its cost.
If Mind Crush wasn't that bad, you could cite this.
One interaction that I find funny with Mind Crush, now that you mention it. We all know what Mind Crush does. You call a name. If your opponent has it in their hand, they discard it. If not, you discard a random card. Are you allowed to declare a name of a card that is banned with Mind Crush? Are you allowed to activate Mind Crush and call, yo, Maxi?
I don't see why you wouldn't be able to.
Well, there's like a rule where, I mean, that rule doesn't make sense anymore. Wasn't there like some rule like if you can show where all the copies were, you wouldn't have to confirm if the card was in your hand, but you know that.
Yeah. Okay. So with old verification rules, say you declared a card that was at 1. If you declared a card that was at 1, and your opponent discarded that 1 copy of a card that was at 1, you wouldn't have to reveal your hand. You wouldn't have to reveal your hand to prove that like you didn't have other copies or whatever, because the card itself doesn't say to look at your opponent's hand. So if like when Graph was at 1, if you'd activate it and you discard a Graph, you wouldn't have to reveal your hand because there's no possibility of you having more than 1 copy. Now, the interesting part is you are not allowed to declare a banned card with Mind Crush. Something like Mind Crush, or something even better is Alce. Alce is the XYZ for the Sylvans. Alce has the effect that says you can declare a card name, excavate the top card of your deck, and if it is the declared card, add it to your hand. You're not allowed to declare a banned card with Alce. Now, let me ask you this. Are you allowed to declare a card that you do not have in your deck or so much as on your deck list with Alce?
Yeah.
I think so. It's possible for a card that's not in your deck to be in your deck.
Like Parasite or something, right?
Matter.
Yeah,
it doesn't restrict that.
Yeah. The answer to this is you are allowed to declare a card name that is not in your deck list, or anything like that. As long as you declare a card that is still legal for play, so not a banned card, you are allowed to declare it with Alce.
But what if I call Maxi and the judge comes and says you cannot call a banned card, but I reveal the top card and it is Maxi? What happens then?
Then you will join Stephen J. Trifanowski on the "it was a joke" list.
So what about it's accepted for you to describe a card in terms of Mind Crush, correct?
Yeah. So when it comes to Mind Crush, as long as
little buggies, and Maxi is one of those cards. That's
Well, I mean,
accepted?
that's the thing. You can't when you say describing a card, like I can't just say, oh, that one teller monster with an unsummon effect, because that's not specific enough. But if I literally say to my opponent, I want to declare that level 2 water tuner that summons like a Neptibus from deck, and then your opponent will be like, oh, you're talking about Diva, because as long as both players agree on what the card is, you're not. It's then it's just as good as declaring the actual card name. Saying, I want to hit the card that says destroy all monsters your opponent controls, the normal spell. Everyone knows you're talking about Regeki. There's no other card that does that. There's no other card with exactly that text or something like that.
White Lightning.
What?
The White Lightning card, right?
Well, doesn't it have like it has different text? It has like an activation requirement and things like that. Yeah. Same thing would be something along the lines of like, if your opponent adds a card and you literally flip Mind Crush and say the card you just added, that is good enough. You both know what card was just added.
Can we just reverse the Mind Crush ruling? I really missed this card.
Yes, please.
But it's not even a question of a ruling. It was just verification rules. The verification rules were so dumb. The verification rules were really, really stupid.
That is true. Looking through your opponent's deck was like insane.
Because the thing is, a lot of times, like for example, I do this in remote duels a lot. So if you guys play remote duels, like this is genuinely something that you should do. My opponent would activate Aqua Dolphin. And I've had this literally ruled at the Extravaganza. My opponent used Aqua Dolphin, and I had no monsters in hand. All I did, I put my hand down for like 2 seconds, said, no monsters in hand. He saw that I had no monsters in hand, and I put my hand away. He says, 1 sec, I wanna look at your hand and read your cards. And I literally called the judge. The judge showed up. I said, Judge, I revealed that I had no monsters in my hand. They confirmed I had no monsters in my hand, so they cannot hit anything with the Aqua Dolphin. They would like to take the time to read the spell cards in my hand. Are they allowed to do that? And the judge says, no, Aqua Dolphin is meant to be a quick verification of what you can hit, not to take the entire time to read every single one of your opponent's cards. And that is the same case with something like for example, activate Rhoda with no warriors in deck. What should happen is you should do a quick glance over the deck to see, oh yeah, they don't have any warriors. What ends up happening is people will take the time to analyze what is in your deck in order to determine what is in your hand, which is why those verification rules were changed, because those verification rules were really, 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 really dumb. You know what I mean?
Just don't misplay. Okay.
Well, it's not even a question of misplay. A lot of times what would end up happening is you'd have like a situation where, like, for example, you know how you go, like, activate Invocation, and your opponent goes Chain Lancia, and then you're forced to fuse with your hand. Yeah. Then it's not even a misplay. Your opponent just interacted with your card, and from activating Lancia, get to see your whole hand. It doesn't make any sense.
Just don't get Lancia.
Yeah, easy. Just chain callback. Easy.
I agree. It's dumb.
But yeah, that is why those verification rules were overturned, because they did contribute to a lot of very, very ridiculous scenarios.
Man, I looked through a lot of decks back in the day.
Same.
Yeah, that's generally how it went. With a Pointer of the Red Lotus, would you be allowed to read the cards? Because the card specifically says, look at your opponent's hand and then pick one, then you're not verifying to see if you have a legal target. All cards are legal targets. So yes, you can go ahead and read them. Absolutely. It's more of a question of, if I literally show you my hand and I say, I don't have any targets, and you're continuously taking the time to look at my hand just to read, even though you're not interacting with any of those cards, it doesn't make any sense to do. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So I know Scapegoat wanted me to go over this this funny one with Tauti. Tauti's really cool. So Tauti is a Yang Zing monster. Rest in peace, my boy Danglong. So Tauti Dragon says, possession of a synchro monster on the field that used this card as a synchro material cannot switch. So if I synchro summon for a synchro monster using Tauti as material, is my opponent allowed to take as Xyz material the synchro monster that I summoned with the effect of number 101 Silent Honor Arc? Because this says possession of that monster cannot switch. Can you 101 yoink it?
I'd say yes.
Your Xyz materials, though.
I'd say yes, because you don't actually get the possession, you just attach a material.
I would say you cannot, because cards everywhere on your board, in your graveyard, in your extra deck, in your hand, in your deck, they're all cards that you possess. So possession cannot be changed.
Once more?
Over Tauti, sure. It says possession.
Oh, possession of a synchro monster. Oh, but Silence on Arc materials aren't monsters.
Silent Honor Arc takes it as material.
Materials aren't monsters, so I think you can.
Okay. So the answer to this, which is outlined in the OCG database, so we have actual confirmation on this. The monster that is synchro summoned with the effect of Tauti cannot be attached as material with Silent Honor Arc.
Ooh.
And this brings a very, very funny point, which was Armed Dragon Thunder level 10. So when we had the first translation of Armed Dragon Thunder level 10, this effect that says control of this card cannot switch used to be possession of this card cannot switch. And when Lantern and I were discussing this, if this card said possession rather than control, this card would be the super armor card, in the sense that if you gave control, if you like activated exchange, gave this to your opponent, and then your opponent summoned it via the effect of an armed dragon, if this card said possession of it cannot switch, you would not be able to literally compulsory evacuation device this card, because then it would go from the field to the opponent's hand. But possession of it couldn't switch. Because it says control, that's not the case in the TCG. But in the OCG, this card does say possession. So in the OCG, that interaction would work. It's not an interaction that's ever going to happen in any duel ever, but it's still really interesting to have this card that is just super armor. Possession of it can't switch. If you give it to your opponent and then they summon it, it doesn't move anymore. Which is kind of wild when you think about it.
So it couldn't be destroyed or anything because it can't go back to your own graveyard?
No,
literally.
But when you kick over it, like that effect stops applying right before it goes to the grave.
Not exactly. Well, the thing is, first of all, it can't be destroyed by battle, so that doesn't help.
Oh, so if you just scoop, does it still belong to your opponent officially now?
Yeah, it's theirs now. You can't take that back. What?
Rules. Let's go.
What was the other ruling that was asked about the Black Garden?
Who summons the tokens when different players summon monsters? I don't want to talk about the having of attacks. That's the most horrible thing ever.
Oh my god. Oh, okay. So you're saying like if two players summon a monster from the same, like with the same effect?
Oh, just like if I normal a monster, who summons the token to whose field, who picks where it goes? Because Yugioh Pro doesn't function very well, I think, with that. I think it's my Black Garden. I should be summoning the token to my opponent's field. But it lets them
monster's
choose.
normal special summon face up, except by the effect of Black Garden. Happens to attack, then the controller of that monster special summons one rose token to their opponent's field. You would be the one choosing where you're summoning the token to the opponent's field. If they summoned the monster and they were summoning a token to your side of the field, they would choose where it goes on your field, but you would choose where it goes on their field. Yeah.
All right. Well, it doesn't function correctly on Yugioh Pro, or at least it didn't. I have no idea. I haven't used it in a while. But it might be something to check Break Omega.
Yugioh Pro, come on, man. I mean, there's all these neat interactions. Tokens actually have the wildest interactions ever. Like, honestly. Like, if you look at something like Sea Stealth Attack, I love this interaction with Sea Stealth Attack. So Sea Stealth Attack has the effect that says, once per turn, you can banish one water monster you control until the end phase. This turn, face-up spells and traps you control can't be destroyed by your opponent's card effects.
This is
can
a
you banish
spiral ruling?
It is a Phantasm Spiral ruling. Can you banish a token with the effect of Sea Stealth Attack? Why or why not? Keep in mind that it does banish for cost, so let me know.
Oh, it's cool. No, no.
I mean, I've seen it
I
done.
think you can banish it, and then you actually get a token back.
Or you banish it and nothing happens.
So you can banish the token for the cost of Sea Stealth Attack. In which case, the effect of Sea Stealth Attack applies just fine. It does protect your face-up spell traps until the end of the turn. But at the end phase, your token doesn't come back. The token won't return. Another interesting one with this is, say you use Sea Stealth Attack in conjunction with a Paleozoic trap card. So the Paleos say, if summoned this way, this card's unaffected by monster effect, also banish it when it leaves the field. If you banish a Paleo with the effect of Sea Stealth Attack, as cost for the effect of Sea Stealth Attack, I should say, in order to protect your spells and traps, will the Sea Stealth Attack successfully protect the spells and traps? And will the Paleo come back in the end phase or not?
Yes, it will protect. No, it won't come back.
Are we in agreement on this?
I would agree with that.
Because
Or Yugioh for Sea Stealth Attack.
Oh, wait.
So it would
Maybe
say
not.
banish it until the end phase. But then the Kanadi says it's
Nah, it
banished.
doesn't really matter. I think it will protect, but it will not come back.
Yeah.
It might not even be legal to activate. I'm not sure you can pay the cost.
It is legal to activate. You will banish the Paleo, but it won't come back. Because, and the reason why is the same thing. Like, say, for example, Paleos weren't unaffected by monster effects. If you Farfa a Canadia, it would get banished and it wouldn't come back. Because the fact that the Farfa is banishing the Canadia by its effect, but the Canadia is leaving the field, so it says banish it when it leaves the field. This restriction is applied above the bring it back from Farfa. So, for example, so if you were to banish this by anything, I would say that it should come back. This banishes itself when it leaves the field. So at the end of the day, it's considered being banished by itself above being banished by something like the Farfa or the Sea Stealth Attack.
Okay.
Very cool.
Yeah, those are
Oh,
just
I-
weird interactions.
I just figured it will not return because it is a trap monster, and Sea Stealth Attack cannot summon a trap back because it's not a monster;
Yeah.
it's a trap.
Oh, are you saying okay? Then let's go with this one. I like this one. Prime Monarch, the Prime Monarch versus Farfa. I love these Farfa rulings. Farfa is the best for rulings. I love this. Okay, so the Prime Monarch summons itself. This card is not treated as a trap, same as the Paleos. So it summons itself as a monster, a normal monster, and is not treated as a trap. If you Farfa the Prime Monarch, what happens when the Farfa would return the Prime Monarch to the field? Does it stay banished? Does it not return? Does it return just fine? What happens here?
Oh, if I was gonna wait for everyone else to answer, I think it stays banished.
I definitely don't think it stays banished. It's either going to go to the graveyard, or it's going to go to the spell trap zone face up.
What?
I mean, the third possibility is it just becomes back as a monster, but it's definitely
I don't
coming
think
back.
it's coming back. I don't think it's coming back as a monster. Like, either stays banished or goes to the graveyard.
There's no reason why it would go to the grave.
Well,
And
when a
not
monster
just
can't go back
I'm-
to the field, it goes to
I'm
the grave, like off the
I'm
Mega.
gonna let y'all know that literally none of you in your hypothesis have given the correct answer.
It comes back.
That is also
Prime Monarch.
not exactly
back
fully
here.
entirely correct.
Oh.
So what happens with the Prime Monarch and Farfa is that the Farfa banishes the Prime Monarch. And then when the Farfa's effect stops like applying and returns the Prime Monarch to the field, the Prime Monarch does return to the field in the monster zone and then is immediately sent to the graveyard. So it does return to the monster zone for a very brief amount of time, and the second it hits the monster zone, it goes straight to the graveyard. The reason for this is because the Farfa will return the monster that it banishes. That is just part of its effect. That's just how that works. The second the Prime Monarch hits the monster zone after being returned by Farfa, it has an existential crisis and says to itself, "What? I am a trap card. I should not be in this zone," and goes immediately to the graveyard. And that's the reason why. That's not even a joke.
So let's say I have Skill Drain and a Paleozoic, and the Paleozoic gets banished by Farfa. So then in the end phase, the Paleo returns and dies.
It wouldn't. The Paleo wouldn't return. The skill drain doesn't do anything to the Paleo. Paleos are treated as normal monsters.
No, because it is unaffected by monsters. That's the only reason why I said Skill Drain.
But Paleos are they're normal monsters anyway, so yeah.
Are they always considered summoned by their own effect if they've made it onto the field, even if they were like flipped face down and then flip summoned?
The
Because then
Paleos,
they're
yes.
affected by monster effects, right?
No, they'll always be, even if you book them and then flip them back up, they will still be unaffected by monster effects. Yeah.
Isn't there a scenario where they come back somehow, some other way? I feel like it happened.
Not that I know of.
If you book it and flip it back up, it does remember that it was summoned from the graveyard.
I love how everyone's just spamming ruling questions. Oh, double-edged sword? That's a fun card. I like double-edged sword.
After that one, you want to do the Wee Witch Gale?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's a classic. That's a classic. Well, double-edged sword is also a battle damage one, so we're going to have some fun. Double-edged sword says, you can only control one double-edged sword. The equipped monster gains 2,000 attack. Also, both players take any battle damage from attacks involving the equipped monster. So it boosts the monster by 2k, and then both players take the damage. So, if I have double-edged sword equipped to literally any Time Lord, I'll go with Zaphion. Equipped to any Time Lord. And my opponent has Avram. We'll go with a 2k. Actually, we'll go with something bigger. What's like a 5k vanilla? We'll go with the Blue Eyes. Blue Eyes Ultimate. Yeah, Blue Eyes Ultimate works. Okay. So if I have the Zaphion says, can't be destroyed by battle. You take no battle damage from attacks involving this card. All right? So if I have a Zaphion in attack, equipped with double-edged sword. Actually, I'll do one better. You equip the double-edged sword to your opponent's Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. So their Blue Eyes Ultimate is on 6,500 attack. I have a Zaphion with 0 attack that says that I take no damage from battles involving it. And I swing with my Zaphion and crash into my opponent's Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. Is anyone taking damage? If so, how much?
Can you hover over the sword again?
I think the opponent controlling the Blue Eyes Ultimate would take the 6,500 and you take no damage. Because the Zaphion only applies to you. And then the double-edged sword will try to deal damage to you, but then the Zaphion will only protect you.
So you're saying that the double-edged sword is checked before the Zaphion is checked. Because there's two ways you can look at it. You can either look at it like Zaphion swings and the battle damage is reduced to 0, therefore double-edged sword doesn't apply to either player. Or the Zaphion swings, the double-edged sword says, okay, both players are taking 65, and then Zaphion nullifies it saying, well, I don't take any damage. Those are the two ways to look at it. Now, which is correct?
Well, there could be like a third way where the damage is inflicted by the sword kind of bypassing Zaphion, like it's damaged by the sword.
That is another way to look at it, is it not?
Oh, right. Battle Face is my weakness, so I'm tapping out.
I love these battle phase damage type effects. They're like so good.
Sword, it's not applying effect damage, right? It's applying battle damage technically. Yeah. I think Zaphion would still protect.
So in this instance, and we're gonna have another double-edged sword one afterwards, which is gonna be I just so many good rulings with this. So in this instance, what'll happen is your opponent will take the 6,500 damage, and you do not take any damage, you as the controller of Zaphion. So yes, the double-edged sword damage is checked for both players before the Zaphion nullifies that battle damage. Now, the fun part. Now we get into the fun part. Amazoness Swordswoman.
That's a card.
Oh yeah, that's a card. Amazoness Swordswoman is a card. And we'll bring out an Avram. So I control Amazoness Swordswoman equipped with double-edged sword. So my Amazoness Swordswoman currently has 3,500 attack. If my Amazoness Swordswoman, wait, is it the other way around? Yeah, your opponent takes any battle damage you would have taken for battle. Oh, it's the other way around.
Oh, no way.
It's the other way around. So the Avram has the double-edged sword. So the Avram is on 4k, and my opponent's Avram swings into my Amazoness Swordswoman. They're both in attack. So my Amazoness Swordswoman's on 15. My opponent's Avram is on 4K. Who takes how much damage?
So the double-edged sword would try to apply 2,500 damage to you. So your opponent takes 2,500. But then the Amazoness Swordswoman says your opponent takes any battle damage you'd receive. So they'd actually receive 5,000 total. That's my theory.
Are we in agreement with this? So we think that the controller of Avram is going to be taking 5K?
Can you go over the...
I think this exact situation happened in the anime with different cards.
Does it actually?
I think
there's no way. If you can actually find the, it's not in Vrains. I watched all of Vrains. So if it is
with Reggie Akaba and the Fusion Dimension Guardian dude, but that's never mind that.
I'm kind of down. If that happened in the anime, I gotta see this. So, do we have any other answers than 5K to the controller?
I am lost. I don't know how these cards work.
I'm just confused by now.
So yeah, so the way this works is the Avram with 4K attacks into the Amazoness Swordswoman. You check what the base damage that would be applied to both players is. So it's 2,500. That is the base battle damage. So once you've spotted what the base battle damage that's going to be applied is, being the 2,500, you apply it to both players due to double-edged sword. So the controller of Avram takes 2,500, and then when the controller of Amazoness Swordswoman would take 2,500 battle damage, the Swordswoman redirects that damage to the opponent, making the opponent take 5K damage.
Oh, that's disgusting.
But let's take this one step further.
Gosh.
We're going to be replacing Avramax with number, I believe, C96 Dark Storm. I'm correct. C96 Dark Storm. So, the way this situation goes down, C96 Dark Storm has the effect that says this card cannot be destroyed by battle. Also, all battle damage you take from battles involving this card is also inflicted to your opponent. So I control an Amazoness Swordswoman equipped with double-edged sword. Okay, so my Amazoness Swordswoman is on 35. I swing into my opponent's Dark Storm. Who takes how much damage?
Isn't it just 0?
Why would it be 0?
Why would it be any damage?
Well, I mean, you attack with Swordswoman with 3,500 attack into an attack position Dark Storm.
You both monsters say that your opponent will take the damage, and
that's not correct. The Swordswoman says, yeah, the Swordswoman says the opponent takes the damage you would take. The Dark Storm says whatever damage you take, your opponent also takes.
Oh, I'm sorry. So the Swordswoman is 35, right?
The Swordswoman is 35. The Dark Storm is 1K. So the difference between their attacks is currently 2,500.
Then the one with Dark Storm takes 25.
Okay, so you're saying that the one with Dark Storm just takes 25 and that's it?
Yeah.
Despite the effect of double-edged sword?
Oh, sorry. Also both take.
So what's being
what's 5K.
So basically what's happening here is you have the Amazoness Swordswoman redirects any battle damage to the opponent. The Dark Storm makes it so that the opponent also takes the same amount of battle damage as the Dark Storm controller takes. And the double-edged sword says both players take the battle damage.
I sent you the anime clip in the DM coder.
Oh, badass. I'll look at that later. Thanks, dude.
Did you take 7,500 damage from
the Dark Storm controller? You're saying you think he should take 75?
I do.
Dark Storm controller would take 7,500.
I think that.
I don't want to be right about this. That's horrible.
It sounds disgusting.
So this one was a little bit more of a toss-up. Originally, what ended up happening was when Lantern and I first discussed this ruling, Lantern had come to the conclusion. Lantern, for those that don't know, is one of the Dueling Book head admins, and he dabbles in weird rulings all the time. So when I had spoken with Lantern about this, the conclusion that we'd come to was that Amazoness Swordswoman attacks over Darkstorm. You determine what the base damage that would be inflicted is, that being 2,500. So what ends up happening is the Darkstorm controller is supposed to be taking 25, and Double-Edged Sword is making both players take 25. So here what would end up happening is the controller of Darkstorm takes 25, then another 25 from the Amazoness Swordswoman redirect, and then the Darkstorm would attempt to inflict 25 to the opponent, but the Amazoness Swordswoman would redirect that damage as well, making the Darkstorm player take 7,500. Now, looking into it more, we found, if I remember correctly, I might be wrong on this if I'm remembering this incorrectly, but if I remember correctly, we found that the damage from Darkstorm wouldn't be redirected once again, like going from redirecting from Darkstorm to Swordswoman and then Swordswoman back to Darkstorm. So if I remember correctly, we'd come to the conclusion that what would actually be happening is the controller of Darkstorm would take 5k damage and the controller of Amazoness Swordswoman would take 25. And that is how that interaction would play out.
I thought you were going to say for a second that it was going to be an infinite loop. I was like, no way.
Oh, infinite loops are fun. I like infinite loops. Yeah, infinite loops are the funniest thing. Yeah, you can't do infinite loops anymore. They literally banned loops. It absolutely sucks.
No more loops, brother.
Yo, okay. So I can take this one step further. Are we done with attack modification with redirection, or do we want to take this one step further?
Well, the Wee Witch, right?
The what?
The Wee Witch.
We can do the Wee Witch. I'm saying, do we want to keep going in with this stuff, or do we want to move on to something else?
I'm down to go even further beyond.
Because I can go one step further with. I can go a lot of steps further.
Sure,
but I can go one step further. So, okay, we're gonna pull out my favorite card, Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon, which inflicts double piercing, which is fun. We like double piercing. So we pull out Blue Eyes Chaos Max, and on top of that, we add Big Bang Shot.
Oh.
We add Big Bang Shot. Okay. And cool. And we have Amazoness Swordswoman. Everyone in my chat is like, oh no.
Yeah, the friggin' voice clip, right?
Gross.
Okay, so what we have here is player A controls Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon equipped with Double-Edged Sword. Player B, so the opponent, so I'm gonna put this on separate boards so that it's clear. So this guy has Chaos Max equipped with Double-Edged Sword. I equip my Big Bang Shot to my opponent's Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon. What happens if my opponent attacks into my defense position, Amazoness Swordswoman? How much damage is either player taking? So do keep in mind, Double-Edged Sword boosts Chaos Max. So Chaos Max is on 6k attack. Chaos Max inflicts double piercing damage. Amazoness Swordswoman redirects all battle damage to the opponent. And Big Bang Shot boosts the Chaos Max and says the opponent takes piercing battle damage. So the thing is,
am I allowed to?
I'm gonna take away the biggest loop in this ruling is the fact that if I equip my Big Bang Shot to my opponent's monster and they attack into me, the Big Bang Shot is making my opponent take the damage. I'm just making sure that that is known and clear. So if I activate the Big Bang Shot on my opponent's Chaos Max here, and we're assuming that the Chaos Max effects were negated when I equipped this, because I know you can't target it with effects, so you wouldn't be able to equip these, but we're assuming it was negated when you equipped, and then now it's not negated anymore, okay? We're going to assume that, all right? So any damage that the Blue Eyes Chaos Max that would be inflicted via Big Bang Shot would be inflicted to my opponent and not to me. So in this case, if a 6k Chaos Max is attacking into my Amazoness Swordswoman in defense, who is taking how much damage? If you need to read over any cards, let me know. I will mouse over them for you.
So if I control a zero defense monster and I equip my opponent with Big Bang Shot, I know. I'm just trying to simplify the.
Yeah. If you have a 0 defense monster and your opponent has like a monster with 1,000 attack, and you equip their monster with a big bang shot, and they attack into your defense position monster, they would be taking 14 battle damage.
Okay.
And that is purely due to the wording on Big Bang Shot, yeah. So this is a 6,400 Chaos Max attacking into Amazoness Swordswoman. I'll do the first step for you guys. Step 1 is that the
Wait, do you lose the game?
Oh, someone is dead. Yeah, someone is definitely dead. The question is, who's dead?
The player who controls the Chaos Max takes 9,600.
9,600? You're shy by about 20k damage.
Oh gosh.
20k?
You're shy by about 20k damage. So
does it check piercing damage twice?
So here's the thing. What ends up happening is the first step is always to determine what the base amount of damage is before you do any sort of redirection. So the Chaos Max is 64, punches into a 16 defense swordswoman. That's 48 damage, if I'm not stupid. 64 minus 16. 48, right? Am I being dumb, chat? Correct me if I'm being dumb. I want to say that's 48.
That is.
So
right.
You have the 48. So you get the 48 base damage. The 48 base damage gets applied to both players. The Big Bang Shot here actually doesn't matter. The Big Bang Shot doesn't do anything because you do not stack piercing with double piercing. No, wait, 1 sec. No, that's not how it is. I'm dumb. So the way this works is you'll swing with the Chaos Max into the Amazoness Swordswoman. You determine that it's 48 damage being inflicted. The double-edged sword applies it to both players. So the Chaos Max player is going to be taking double of 48, which is 96, due to the fact that the Amazoness Swordswoman is redirecting this damage.
Oh, gotcha.
The Big Bang Shot is applying 1 instance of piercing damage on this, so it's another 48. So you get, let's pull out a calculator. So you get 96 plus 48, if I can just get this right. Yeah. You get your 96 plus your 48, which is 14,400. And then, because there's double piercing damage being inflicted, you double that to 28,800 damage being inflicted.
Perfect.
So 28,800 damage is being inflicted onto the controller of the Chaos Max. Can you imagine this scenario? He attacks into a fucking set Amazoness Swordswoman, and you just go, Amazoness Swordswoman, obliterate, 28k. Yeah, dude. Absolutely crazy.
Who?
Grandma Juhu, but this is defense OTK. It's broken.
I'm just here wondering how you activated an equip on your opponents.
You fleur-de-lised it on a previous turn, and then
I had skill drain face up, and then I MST'd my own skill drain, something like that, dude.
Yo, do you have like time for like a small, like, actual judge call that I had like yesterday and no one has answered yet?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, go for it.
So you actually should know this. So my opponent has a Dogmatica Ecclesia.
Okay.
I have a Plunder Patrol Blackbeard in the extra monster zone.
Yeah, dude.
I activate Blackbeard effect to summon this. I activate this to summon back Blackbeard. Can the Blackbeard kick over the Ecclesia?
That Blackbeard is not considered special summon from the extra deck. So yes, it can get over the... It's summoned from the Spell and Trap Zone, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Now, do you want one that's even cooler than that? Okay, we're going to talk about Plunder. If we're going to talk about Plunder, we're going to talk about Plunder right. We get Redbeard. We get my boy Redbeard, which is probably one of my favorite Plunder patrols. My boy Redbeard. What's up?
I hyped up the coder.
Oh yeah, dude, you literally winded me up, and now you're letting me go. Plunder time. Another good card, Book of Moon. We all know this card. What happens if I activate the effect? If I activate the effect of Plunder Patrol Redbeard to special summon from my extra deck, and Chainlink 2, my opponent activates Book of Moon targeting my Plunder Patrol Redbeard. What happens and how does that resolve?
So you summon the extra deck monster because the plunders don't have to equip in order to summon. Then it goes, if you do equip discard, you control discard. If it's face down, it's no longer discard, so it just stays face down.
Here, I'll actually perform this one for you guys because it's gonna be messed up. So we got Plunder Patrol
Or
here.
I am wrong.
Is it the Thousand Eyes ruling?
Oh yeah.
The Thousand Eyes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it is the Thousand Eyes ruling. You'll love to see it. So I have the red beard on my field. Can I open my deck? Okay. I have the red beard on my field. Right here. And I declare, it's my opponent's turn. I declare the effect, they chainlink 2 Book of Moon. What happens, my red beard gets set, and then my red beard's effect resolves. Say my opponent had a fire, whatever, I'll summon the brand. I summon the brand, and then the red beard is still this card. It is still the same card. Therefore, it equips itself while face down to the monster that it was being equipped to. So it still equips itself, but it remains face down. So this card is now considered an equip spell that is face down. It's a face down equip spell that is equipped to the brand. It is not a Plunder Patrol card, so you cannot summon it off list, and it does not make the brand a quick effect. But yeah.
This is like an Infernity player's wet dream, saying face down monsters in the spell trap zone. Legally.
Oh my god.
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, this is a really neat interaction. And the reason why this came to light, okay? I'd never thought of this. A friend of mine messaged me and goes, bro, I activated Redbeard to summon a list and my opponent chained UCT. What the fuck happens? And I'm like, wow, that is wild. So I literally explained this to him and he goes, are you okay? Are you high? And I'm like, no, I'm being serious. This is how this works. And he says, okay, can you hop in my Discord and say that to this guy because he doesn't believe this shit? And to be honest, neither do I.
Yeah, I have a Plunder Patrol player in the group as well. And we get like, for some reason, we all like pick weird random decks to play, like as our decks, and we always get into like weird rulings, and I never know how it happens. So it's actually explained a lot for me.
It's actually really cool. Like I think these like interactions between lesser known decks that come up when like people play casual locals, that's like one thing. I feel like that's one reason why people seem to believe that like casual players don't know rulings a lot. It's because they encounter shit like this when they're playing like friends basement locals type thing and they just solve it however it is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah. It's really neat and interesting. I like these interactions quite a lot. I really, really do. Now I'm going to go on to the one that Scapegoat's been begging for me to say this entire time. So we'll go into that one.
The first one. That blew my mind.
Yeah, we're going to go with a very fun card by the name of Dark World Shackles. Dark World Shackles is really cool. Dark World Shackles says the equipped monster's attack. It can't attack. Also, its attack and defense become 100. This is all that matters, is Dark World Shackles. Yeah. Its attack becomes 100. If you equip it to, is it Doolittle Chimera? Yeah, Doolittle Chimera. So you got your boy Doolittle Chimera face up. So he's 1400 attack, boosting himself by 500. He's on 19. If you equip Dark World Shackles to the Doolittle Chimera, what are the stats of Doolittle Chimera after it resolves?
That one's easy, I believe. It should be 600.
For what reason?
Going with what you said on Wicked cards, I would have to say 600 if they're the only ones that work that way.
Because it's a continuous effect that permanently pumps it by 500. And I believe, like Shackles wants to set the card to 100, but Chimera still applies its own effect. So it's adding the 500, so 600.
It doesn't say current attack, so I would say its base attack becomes 100.
And then it boosts itself? Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And then
I'm curious.
Defense.
I'm not going to answer yet because I'm literally going to be pumping you guys with like 4 different interactions all in the same like light, and I'll see what you guys think and I'll give you the answer to all of them at once. We're going to go with Blackwing Gale the Whirlwind. Progression series. Okay. Not damage Shep Kalut, but good enough. Gale the Whirlwind says, once per turn you can target when face-up monster your opponent controls, that target's attack and defense become half its current attack and defense. So if you have the Doolittle Chimera, which is currently on 1900 because of its own effect, and you activate Gale, targeting the Doolittle Chimera, what are the stats of Doolittle Chimera after the Gale resolves?
What does Gale say exactly?
It halves the attack.
Okay, and what was the
Burn.
first card say the spell? Yeah, again.
It sets the
The Dark World Shackles is
minimum.
not in this example. This is just
Okay.
Gale versus Doolittle Chimera. Yeah.
950.
Yeah, it becomes 950.
Yeah. Oh my god. This is
wait.
gonna be like the Wicked Avatar version 2 again or something, right?
It sets the attack in general to half, right?
The target's attack and defense become half its current attack and defense. Yeah.
I'm
950,
gonna say
yeah.
how much attack does Doolittle have on its
Doolittle.
own?
It's on 1900. It's on 14 base. It's on 1900 after with its continuous
Okay.
effect.
So I'm gonna say that it reduces half to 700 and then gains to 500.
So you're saying it would be on 1200?
Yes.
Okay.
So 950.
So a lot of people are saying 950 because you're just taking half of 1900. So
Nah.
I'm curious to know why you guys believe, and this is interesting because your answers are interesting. Why you guys believe that the Gale having the Doolittle Chimera won't have the Doolittle Chimera reapply its effect, but the Dark World Shackles on the Chimera does let Chimera reapply its effect.
Can you read the Dark World Shackles again?
Gale
Yeah.
says current attack, then Dark World Shackles doesn't. And I'd assume Dark World Shackles just says it's base attack.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay. So by that logic, we'll throw all of them into the mix. I have a Doolittle Chimera. My opponent Gales my Doolittle Chimera, then equips Dark World Shackles on my Doolittle Chimera. What are the stats of my Doolittle Chimera?
Shackles comes last, right?
The shackles is the last thing to be used on the Doolittle Chimera. Yeah.
I say
Would
100.
it be 350?
The what?
Would its attack be 350? 350?
Possibly.
I'm gonna say it's 100.
400.
For what
I'll say
reason is it
100.
now 100 when it was 600 before?
Because the what is the card? The Gale.
Gale.
Yeah.
The like I say the Gale set the Chimera to 950. And well, then that's just the attack. So we just say 950. And since the attack is already set to a specific point, and the effect of Chimera already applies, you can just set it to 100 with shackles. I don't know how else to say it.
You actually got it all right. The whole thing. Yep.
Nice.
Yep. Yeah,
Wow.
very good. Yeah, okay. So basically,
Easy
to
game.
explain
Impressive.
in as simplest words I can explain this is the Doolittle Chimera and the effect of Dark World Shackles. What's important to know, because a lot of people, like, when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh players, a lot of the time, and this is one of my pet peeves when it comes to rulings with Yu-Gi-Oh players, is that Yu-Gi-Oh players tend to memorize individual rulings rather than why rulings work a certain way. So the first thing you should look at is the fact that Dark World Shackles is a continuous effect. Doolittle Chimera is a continuous effect. Gale is not a continuous effect. It's a what people would refer to as a lingering effect.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have a continuous effect that sets the attack to a specific value, opposing a continuous effect that boosts attack, the continuous effect to boost attack will be applied after the continuous effect that sets it to a specific value. So the Dark World Shackle sets the attack to 100 continuously, and the Doolittle Chimera will then boost continuously. If you use Gale the Whirlwind on a Doolittle Chimera, because it's a lingering effect that sets it to a specific value, you set it to a specific value via the lingering effect, and then because it's a lingering effect, the continuous effect of Doolittle Chimera is not reapplied after the lingering effect of Gale is applied. So it is 950. Now, the reason why it's interesting when you mix both of them is because if you Gale the Whirlwind to set Doolittle Chimera to half its attack, the Doolittle Chimera's effect stops applying to itself because of the effect of Gale. So after that, that remains true once you Dark World Shackles the Doolittle Chimera, because once you Dark World Shackles it, its effect doesn't start reapplying again because it already wasn't applying due to the effect of Gale.
Mm.
So if you did that in the other order, it would be 300?
If you did that in the other order, it would be 300 attack. Yeah. If you equip the Dark World Shackles to the Doolittle Chimera, the Doolittle Chimera's continuous effect would apply, and then the Gale would have the 600 down to 300. So the Doolittle Chimera would be on 300. Yeah.
This is why I hate Black Garden. Black Garden
Yeah, dude, these
specifically
rulings are
with
sick.
Crusadia Equimax is what I've had trouble with before.
Okay, maybe we can get back into some meta stuff. I can do a couple more rulings.
Thank God.
If you're
Oh my God.
if you're all good for it, I can do a couple of
Yes.
meta relevant stuff.
I would love that.
And then we can end it off there. So we're gonna talk about a banned card that is probably gonna give Tat some PTSD, but Union Carrier.
Yo, what's up, guys? I love this card.
Yeah, dude. So Union Carrier has equipped your boy Eldritch the Golden Lord. And
That's a good
you want
card.
to activate Conquistador.
Yes. I see,
Will
I
the
see.
Conquistador be able to destroy a face-up card if there is an Eldritch the Golden Lord currently face-up in the spell and trap zone?
1000%.
Yes.
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 Okay, so by this logic, we'll talk about Union Carrier once again, but we'll talk about Triff Gaming for a sec. We're gonna talk about Familiar Possessed Lina and Lina the Light Charmer.
But Coder, this was mainstream.
Yeah, I know it was mainstream, but let's actually talk about why it works the way that it does. If you activate Union Carrier targeting itself and you equip Lina the Light Charmer, can you use the Union Carrier and the Lina the Light Charmer to special summon Familiar Possessed Lina? Lina says you can special summon this card from your hand or deck by sending one face-up Lina the Light Charmer you control and a face-up light monster you control to the graveyard. For what reason would you be able to or not be able to summon the Familiar Possessed Lina from deck by using the Carrier and the Lina the Light Charmer that is in the spell trap zone, as opposed to the Golden Lord with the Conquistador? What is the difference if there is one?
That this was allowed, right?
That's a weird one because I literally talked about that on stream today. And I honestly don't know why it doesn't work.
I mean, said so.
But
That's why.
I say it should work, but it doesn't. I know it
They
doesn't.
confirm that it doesn't work anymore.
Wait, what? I think it was an OCG ruling where they said
Yeah.
that you have to control it as a monster.
Exactly.
Something
So,
like that. Because
It
they
was
emailed to
actually
Konami to
worse.
ask-
It was actually worse than just it's an OCG ruling. It
Oh.
actually is. It's not even an OCG ruling. It's an OCG FAQ entry. So
Oh god.
there are certain cards in Yu-Gi-Oh.
It was in
that
a
you're
magazine
meant-
somewhere.
Well, no, it's on the database, but it's on an FAQ point rather than an actual ruling scenario given. It's just as reliable, but it just, I don't know, for some people it's just a little weirder. But the reason why, and it's as simple as this, it's that the card was not intended to function this way, therefore it doesn't function this way. In a way, it is kind of a Konami said so. It is in some way a Konami because Konami said so. I think we should talk about the ultimate because Konami said so card. And this is one that Tatsa might know because he's played a lot of BA. Anyone familiar with Gallus?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, my boy Gallus.
Well,
All right.
Silk Dragon BA.
So Gallus the Star Beast says you can reveal this card in your hand for cost. Send the top card of your deck to the graveyard. Then, if it was a monster, inflict damage to your opponent equal to its level times 200 and special summon this card from your hand. Otherwise, destroy this card. So, Gallus the Star Beast under Macrocosmos. Can you activate the effect of Gallus the Star Beast in your hand while Macrocosmos is face up?
Yes. No, wait. Never mind. Think.
Think.
Macro is already face up.
Macro
Yeah,
is already face up.
I'm gonna
I'd
say
say
yeah,
no.
sure, why not?
Say
Okay.
I would say no, but because you prefaced it with a Konami said so, I'm gonna say yes.
No, but
Okay,
you can
cool.
also
Sure.
like activate. No, you can also activate like the Batteryman Solar when Macrocosmos is on the field, and the cost of this card is able to be paid, which is reveal it.
I would
Okay.
say yeah.
So you are allowed to activate Galaxy Star Beast while Macrocosmos is face up on the field. Now we get to the interesting part. If the top card of your deck is a monster, what happens? What happens with the milled card? What happens with Gallus? And is there any burn inflicted?
Sorry, what?
I'm saying
If-
under Macrocosmos, you activate Gallus. We agree that you can activate it. How does it
Yeah.
resolve if the top card of your deck is a monster?
So it's either it will summon, it will stay in the hand, it will burn, it will stay in the hand and burn,
It will
not
destroy
burn.
or stuff like that. Yeah. So the first step would be what happens to the milled card? Gets banished, realistically,
it
right?
gets banished. So
Okay.
okay, send the top card of your deck to the graveyard. Then, so that doesn't
Yeah.
happen.
Okay. So the milled card is a monster. What happens after that point?
It doesn't. It's not able to check it. The monster in the graveyard. So it would just stay in hand, right?
Are we
No,
all in
no.
agreement
Well-
on this?
It destroys
Yeah.
the Gallus and then it gets banished.
You think the Gallus gets destroyed?
And it gets banished, yeah.
Any other takes?
I think he gets destroyed. I think that's actually kind of correct.
Well, that would be an otherwise situation because you didn't send a monster to the graveyard.
Okay, I'll
Oh.
give you I'll give
Oh.
you a big old hypothetical. In a world where Konami makes the rules, that world being this world, Gallus Gallus does still summon. So
Oh gosh.
because Konami said so, and because
no.
the way Gallus is intended to function, the Gallus does still summon. Now, for my next question, does Gallus burn?
No.
Stupid if it doesn't.
I'm gonna say
Yeah.
yes if it summons it, but it will probably be not because it will be like weird. But I will say that if it's able to summon itself, then yes, it will burn.
Okay,
So
so if
in the
it's-
case,
But because
Yeah, go ahead.
because they have a plan of how they want it to function, it's clearly only supposed to be destroyed if it were a spell or trap card. But it still says then. So and so it was a monster, it didn't send it to the graveyard. I don't know. Never mind.
Yeah, I agree.
Same.
I'd say it doesn't burn.
okay, so here's the thing. At YCS Fort Worth of 2019, this card was ruled that it does stay in hand. You just excavate the top card, it gets banished, and it stays in hand. Now, that would make sense based on the PSCT of the card. But the way the card is intended to function is opposite to that. So always ask your head judge, but if you ask your head judge, but the way it works in the OCG database. So the OCG have the exact same text for Galaxy Star Beast. Exactly the same thing. But the way it works from the OCG database and the way the card is intended to function, whether the card goes to the graveyard or gets banished, it works entirely the same way. So Gallus will mill the top card. If it's a monster, it'll summon itself and it will burn your opponent for that level times 200. That's just how the card is intended to function. And that is the way Gallus is meant to be ruled if you follow what the OCG database says to the T. So at the
Goodness.
YCS in Dallas, it was ruled otherwise. But I think the reason why is specifically because the head judge wasn't aware of this this exception, and he just followed the PSCT exactly the way it is. But this is a card that has PSCT, but doesn't work per the way. You're not supposed to take its PSCT at face value. You're supposed to go about how the card is intended to function. Yeah, someone in chat is pointing it out. The then here is to make it a functional sentence, but this is not a PSCT then. It is just the word then. If that makes
Doesn't
any
really
sense.
solve a whole lot of problems then, huh?
Well, there are some cards that do that have the word and. And is the worst word in PSCT because so many cards have the word and, but don't function with the PSCT conjunction and. So there's a difference between just the English word and the PSCT and. It's really weird when you think about it.
So it's like the nerd they didn't want to make nerd language on the cards like with the icons, but essentially they're turning and into that.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I think Yu-Gi-Oh cards should just have the word like literally just write trigger and then what triggers it, cost,
Yeah.
this, effect, this. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
How am I supposed to
Do you
know
want
how
to
the
do
card
the-
is supposed to function without a PhD in rulings? You should ask Coder, dude. Come on.
Just ask Coder. Just PM
Wanna do
Coder
the
on its
duality
Discord
versus
server
mistake?
every day.
What were we saying? Sorry.
If I activate duality and my opponent chains mistake,
Oh, that one's
I-
fun.
How that works? That one's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Do you guys know this one? Duality chain mistake.
Oh. I have a guess.
Yeah, go ahead. So it says activate the top 3 cards, add one of them to your hand. Also, after that, shuffle the rest back into your deck. Duality Chainlink 1, Mistake Chainlink 2, which says neither player can add cards from their deck to their hand except by drawing them.
So I think you still look at them, and there's 2
Mhm.
possibilities. Either they have to go somewhere, or they go back into the deck. I mean, I would like to hope they go back into the deck, but something tells me something silly happens, and they just go to the graveyard.
They don't all go to the graveyard. You pick one that you would add to your hand. The one that you pick goes to the graveyard. The other 2 are shuffled into the deck. I love this interaction with Duality Mistake. It's actually such a funny one. Excavated
stupid.
Purgatory. Yeah, dude. Why does it go to the graveyard? Because the card has to go somewhere. This is the same sort of interaction with like, if you look at cards like Conquistador and Book of Moon, this is a really funny interaction. So before the April 1st revisions in 2020, it's already been a year that we've been playing with these new rules, chat.
Goodness.
Before the April 1st revisions in 2020, continuous traps that summon themselves as monsters that are also still treated as trap cards would still take up a spot in your spell and trap zone. But it no longer is the case since the April 1st revision. So what the April 1st revision says is that now a monster that is in a trap monster that is in the monster zone that is also still treated as a trap no longer takes up a spell trap zone. So in a given scenario where you have a Conquistador in your monster zone and you have 5 set back row and you activate Book of Moon on the Conquistador, if you did have a free spell trap zone, the Conquistador would be reset in the spell and trap zone rather than be set on the field. But because you don't have a spell and trap zone, the card has to go somewhere, so the Conquistador is simply sent to the graveyard here via the new rule change. It's pretty interesting. Why did they change that rule? To sell Eldritch. Lol. Like,
it
literally.
never comes up in Eldritch though. All right, when are you setting 5 while you have trap monsters up?
Nah, but well, I mean, the Book of Moon thing doesn't come up, but the fact that you do sometimes you set 5 and you still have a Conquistador in your monster zone, it does happen sometimes.
Yeah.
So it's just to avoid like the BS. Can you still MST them? Yeah, even if there's 5 cards in the spell trap zone and this is in the monster zone, it is still a trap. You can MST this. Yeah.
I like that they're affected by imperm. That's always funny.
Yeah, and yes and no. Yes and no. You can't like imperm target a Conquistador that's in the monster zone. But yeah.
Oh yeah, I didn't mean that. Like you imperm lowered, it just happens to be in the monster zone.
In the monster zone, yeah. Yeah. And it'll go right back up to being face up in the spell trap zone. It's very funny. Very, very hilarious. Let me see. Do I have anything else in here? I do. I should have a couple of interesting ones.
I have like one I don't think there's an answer to. One of those ask your head judge type rulings.
Oh, do you want one of those?
I mean, I have one in mind, but I'm sure maybe you can come up
I'm
with
curious. Go for it. I'm gonna leave you off. I'm gonna leave you off on the absolute hardest ruling question I've ever been asked. I'm literally just gonna ask it, and that'll be it. But that's gonna be the end of it.
Okay, cool.
Can you activate reasoning if there is a barrier statue on the field and you don't have the appropriate attribute in deck?
There's an answer for that. I believe you can. I believe there's specifically a database entry on this.
I could be phrasing it wrong. The entry is on Evil Swarm Ophion. Ophion?
Yeah, while the effect of Evil Storm Ophion is applying, can activate Monster Gate or Reasoning. If monsters that can be normal summoned are in your deck, you can activate Monster Gate or Reasoning while the effect of Evil Storm Ophion is applying. In the case of Monster Gate, if the activated monster is level 4 or lower, it is special summon normally, but if it's level 5 or higher, all the activated cards sent to the graveyard. In the case of Reasoning, if the activated monster's level is the same as the declared level, all excavated cards sent to the graveyard. As usual, if the level is different,
It might be an implication that there's a possibility that there is a monster in your deck that would hit the level. Like, I think there's like something wrong with this ruling. Or missing.
Well, no, because you'd still be allowed to activate like Reasoning. Like, okay, you'd still be allowed to activate Monster Gate even if all the monsters in your deck are level 5 or higher under Ophion. So in this given scenario, if you do activate something like Reasoning under the barrier statue, you would apply it the same way you would if you hit a level 5 or higher monster. So if you activate the Reasoning, if the monster's level 4 or lower, but send it to the graveyard if it's level 5 or higher. So I feel like if you activate Reasoning and you hit a monster that's not a wind monster under the wind barrier statue, you'll just send it to the grave and everything else as well. By that logic.
All right. One day I'll remember exactly the wording of that question.
It's all good. I'm gonna give you guys a really funky one, and then I'll give you guys the really OP one, and that'll be it. So we're gonna go with the Forbidden One cards. Let's talk about Exodia real quick. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, we love these Forbidden One cards. I'm not gonna use all the same arts, please. Whoops. Okay.
All 8 pieces.
There you go, all 8 pieces. With a very cool card by the name of Relay Soul. So, Relay Soul says, special summon 1 monster from your hand. While it is face up on the field, you take no damage. When it leaves the field, your opponent wins the duel. So, the question here is if I activate Relay Soul and I summon Exodia the Forbidden One, and then later, like on the next turn or whatever, I have 4 pieces in hand and the Exodia on field that was summoned by Relay Soul. And my opponent activates Compulsory Evacuation Device to return the Exodia the Forbidden One to my hand. Do I win via the win condition of Exodia the Forbidden One? Does my opponent win via the win condition of Relay Soul? Or is this a draw?
Exodia spell speed 4, so you win.
Wow.
Am I banned?
I actually believe.
Nah, it's okay. I said inherent summon today on stream, so it's fine.
Oh, okay.
I actually believe the Exodia player wins because Relay Soul says when it leaves the field, so it kind of has to resolve some shit, and Exodia does not say anything like that.
I say you're the turn player, so you decide what win condition triggers first.
Wow, dude. Do we have any contradictory answers?
I don't know. If Relay Soul resolves, you could just win, right? No?
I feel like
it's if the monster summoned by Relay Soul leaves the field, the opponent wins.
I've seen like something done, but again, it was on Yugioh Pro, so obviously, pinch of salt. Someone summoned that god card that requires you to tribute 3 god cards.
Yeah,
and you win if you summon it. Yeah, they tributed one that was summoned by Relay Soul and they lost. So I feel like Relay Soul went first.
So, if it helps, this is one of the rulings that I tested when I was stress testing Omega. And the way Omega handled it is Omega issued a double game loss. Both players were given the loss.
Okay, that has to be incorrect.
Obviously, it's incorrect. Yes, there is no situation where it's like, you're both losers.
But I do agree with that.
I mean, at the end of the day, yeah. But the way this is intended to function is the win condition of Relay Soul is met at the same time as the win condition of Exodia. So for that reason, the match should conclude in a draw in this given scenario.
Okay.
Same thing as if you... Yeah, go ahead.
So does Relay Soul check on like... Does it check mid-chain? Because Exodia checks mid-chain, right?
So mid-chain, but not mid-chain link is the thing. As soon as a win condition, as soon as a win condition is achieved, yeah, as soon as a win condition is achieved, the duel ends there after that chain link resolves.
Okay.
So, for example, like if I was, there's no card in the game that actually does this, but there's no card in the game that literally says take 500 damage, then gain 1,000. Like, or take 500, and if you do, gain 1,000. If you had 500 life and you used a card like that, you would drop to 0, go up to 1,000, and the duel would not be over because it checks every win condition in between every chain link and not mid-resolving a chain link.
Okay.
So after the chain link of compulsory evacuation device is done, Relay Soul's win con is met, Exodia's win con is met. The
Okay.
match results in a draw. Well, the duel
No, I
results
was
in a draw, I
like-
should say.
I was like, what happens if you chain link 1 MST, chain link 2 compels, and then like, okay, you do Exodia before the Relay Soul, but you
Yeah.
don't.
No, that's not how that works. So any win condition, be it life points reduced to 0 and things like that. What about the Salad Field spell? The Salad Field spell pays 1,000 for cost. Yeah. So unfortunately, that does not work. But yeah, okay. I'm gonna give you guys the big one, and then I'm gonna be off for the night. I'm gonna give you guys the
Grand
big old
finale.
toughie. It's time.
Alrighty.
Alright.
Before that, everybody in the chat, after Coder leaves, if you type in Distantcoder, we're going to reveal the winner for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal storage box. So,
Hog. You guys are gonna.
Twitch.
You guys are gonna wanna. You guys are gonna wanna pay attention for this one.
Yeah, while Coder is setting that up, go give some love to Scapegoat. He hosts podcasts.
Yeah,
regularly
dude.
Where he features competitive players, arts people, anime discussion. He features everything, and I had a lot of fun with Coder on. So thank you, Coder, for being here.
Oh, it's my pleasure, dude. Yo, I'm learning Salamangre, dude. It's honestly a really fun deck. Like, holy moly. All right. We're almost done. Let me just pull out a couple more cards. I'll be good to go. Actually, this is everything. Okay. It's time. Let's go into a duel with this one.
I see Rainbow Life. I think I want to quit.
Don't ask any questions. We're not done yet. No, give me a sec. Give me a sec. Give me a sec. Okay.
Card.
So, okay. So, I'm gonna give this to my opponent. So this has been activated by my opponent. All right. My opponent activated Rainbow Life. I have activated Security Block earlier this turn. I control 2 copies of Naturia Mosquito. 1 equipped with Rod of the Mind's Eye. 1 not equipped with Rod of the Mind's Eye. My opponent controls a defense position stone statue of the Aztecs. And they also control Canyon. I can't put it on their in their field zone, but you understand. So if I use the Naturia Mosquito that is equipped with Rod of the Mind's Eye to attack into my opponent's defense position stone statue of the Aztecs, what happens? So to explain to you exactly what is in this scenario, Security Block makes it so that neither player takes battle damage for this turn, and whatever monster you targeted. So this was basically all this does is neither player takes battle damage this turn via the effect of Security Block. No one takes battle damage. My opponent has previously activated Rainbow Life. Until the end of this turn, whenever they would take damage, they gain that much instead. Naturia Mosquito has the effect that says your opponent takes any battle damage you would have taken from battles involving a face-up Naturia monster you control. Rod of the Mind's Eye says if a monster equipped with this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, the damage becomes 1,000 points. Stone Statue of the Aztec says double any battle damage your opponent takes when they attack this monster. And Canyon says if a rock-type monster in defense position is attacked, double any battle damage to the controller of the attacking monster. So I will leave it to the viewers to figure this one out. If you guys do want the answer to this one, check out my part 2 video of testing rulings on Yugioh Omega. Lantern and I went over this one, tested it in Omega. Omega got it extremely freaking wrong, and we broke down exactly how it's meant to work and exactly how much damage is meant to be inflicted. But that's going to be it for me. That is the last one that I'll give to you guys. I'm not even giving you the answer on this one. You guys are going to have to go figure it out for yourselves. So I challenge everyone to try and figure this one out. And after you guys realize that you'll never be able to figure it out because this will never happen in a real duel, you can go check out my video on it and find the actual answer. All right?
Awesome.
That's going to be it for me.
Bye, Coder.
No problem, my
Coder.
dude. I'm going to head out. Thank you so much for having me on the podcast. It was a ton of fun. I appreciate it, my dude. Thank you so much. Peace.
Whoa.
That
Dogs.
guy was a dick.
That was awesome.
All right, so we're gonna be giving away the Yu-Gi-Oh! Zale deck box, storage box, whatever you want to call it. So last minute hashtag or quotations, whatever you want to say. Distantcoder. Just post now, and we will do it. One final objection for Coder. Throw that on there. And then, how'd you guys enjoy that? Did you guys like it?
Yo, that was
Yeah,
fun.
man.
He
No
was
more
doing that
rulings
like
for the week. I'm done.
he was doing that like 2 weeks ago, and it just blew my mind. And then like somebody said we should have had it as an episode, so definitely was
Yeah.
a good idea on their part to do that.
You
It was
guys
definitely
know a
fun.
lot more than I do. I know nothing of this game, apparently.
I was gonna say Annie answered the one of the rulings word for word, like the correct answer. Because I have a lot of the answers on my sheet because Coder did it like 2 weeks ago, so I didn't want to like say much because I already had prior knowledge. That's why I was reminding him of rulings.
It was quite funny though because with another monster, I don't remember which one it was. I talked about that with Stevie at some point. But that was when we got to like the attack would be 300. Like, if you would equip the shackles and then have something. So it was like, okay, it's the other way around. So it should be that amount of attack.
All right, I'm going to click the roll it button. You guys ready? Well, I guess I'll wait now since Distantcoder just hosted for 3:35. Thank you very much, Distantcoder. If you want to, if you just tuned in and started watching, feel free to refresh the stream or whatever. Get on the stream, type in Distantcoder right now. You gotta type in the good old Distantcoder for the prize right here.
Shout out to Distantcoder. This was
Big
fun.
shout out. I love him. He's
Oh,
so
yeah.
funny. All those rulings are very big brain.
I'm just so terrible
Biggest
at
brain on the
like battle
block.
phase.
Shout out for the Distantcoder art too. I love this little background Shiro made for all of us.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's so cute.
And Don
did you get
Don
hold of
Juan
all
wasn't
those
able
pixels?
to come in, but Don Juan's right in the bottom in the middle. But
you can't miss him. He yeah, the reason he's not in frame is if we put him in frame, all you would see is Don.
yeah, the whole lower half is just like literally his body. He can't fit through the frame, so I had to cut it off.
I can't believe doorway.
Gotta give that one more minute. So final thoughts before we close out.
What is a battle phase?
Oh yeah, I don't like those rulings.
So I do a lot of ruling
Really
videos, and I have like one I'm notorious for having screwed up. I wanted to bring it up, but I figured I shouldn't talk about it just in case.
Hey, you guys were actually on point. Like, oh my god.
Oh, I'll rule everyone except Distantcoder.
There were some rulings that I knew. And there were like others where I was like, bro, I don't know this game. Come on.
Dude, I can't believe that Burning Abyss one where it's like the Fiendish Rhino Warrior, the instant its effect stops applying because it's being destroyed, you get to go through like a whole graph sear effect and then it leaves the field.
Yeah, I
There's
remember that from back in the day. That was actually wild. The stuff that you could do with Rhino that would like activate before other stuff would activate. It was really insane.
There's you know how there's like a special ruling page on like Gozen Match and Rivalry of the Warlords? There's one on the damage step that kind of says where certain things happen.
Like the only way that would come up is if you have those two and then your opponent activates D barrier, call XE. So, well, that's it. That's it for me. Can't make Dante.
I miss the good old days.
Okay, so before I roll for the good old winner of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal deck box, Yu-Gi-Oh! Zale, don't cancel me for mispronouncing that. These are very beautiful, actually. Like, they have all of the number patterns on each side. I know MBT is in here. He definitely has one from before. Featured it in one of his videos, but if I like maxed it out, you can kind of see the patterns. It's a beautiful black on gold. Opens up, you can put your deck box in there. A bunch of other storage cards in there. I definitely use one of these. I use the Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds one with the Crimson Dragon on it, but this is like, I think it's a very beautiful design. It's like inside's like kind of felt, but definitely pretty cool. But before we do that, I want to say be sure to watch out next week. I think either next Friday or Sunday we're going to have another podcast. I'm not too sure what the topic is. I know Shiggy's was bringing up a bunch of cool topics, so we'll just we'll brainstorm and kind of let you guys know early, but definitely come by next week. I'm going to be doing dual links pretty soon because I am in the Grand Tournament. So I'll be qualifying in that, and I'll definitely be streaming that just to watch me get destroyed. So look out for that.
Baby, let's go. What deck are you playing? Are you playing that Synchron deck?
Dude, that Synchron deck's so funny, dude. You open Junk Synchron, and you just literally attack 5 times with Shooting Star Dragon. It's like so funny. I don't think it's like super viable though, so I'm probably gonna play Harpies.
The Shooting Star animation's too cool to pass up.
Definitely beautiful. Alright, so the winner is... Ready? One last objection before I give it away. Objection! Thank you for the stream. Mary, Jackie! Jackie! That's rigged, dude.
Wow.
You have to type dodged, right, in honor of MBT.
You got to. It's the rule. He doesn't make up the rules.
Why you don't get picked. You gotta do dodged. There is bonus sub luck on though, so if you are a subscriber, you do get bonus luck for these giveaways. So that is partly the reason why Jackie Burnell won. I do these giveaways quite often. You can ask anybody in here. Tatsim also received. I don't know if he received it yet, but he is getting one in the mail. The Yu-Gi-Oh! Toei Season 0 deck box. Did you get that yet?
I haven't been in that house for like a month, so maybe.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I sent it to Ireland as you requested.
Oh yeah, thanks. Yeah, that's exactly where I live.
Pretty real. All right, but definitely, I could probably give away another one of these for the following week. So definitely tune in for this Goat Time podcast. We give a lot of OCG product. I've got a bunch of stuff ranging from these deck boxes to Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 0 deck boxes, Wing Karibo coins, Yu-Gi-Oh! OCG sleeves, all that kind of stuff. So I do appreciate you guys for watching. Thank you, Distantcoder, for stopping by. MBT also, he was here, and everybody from both chats, thank you very much for coming by.
Everyone drop a follow before you go.
Yeah, totes.
Hell yeah, hit that follow button.
You guys have any last words? Sound like a threat, actually.
Subscribe to youtube.com/Neshi.
Neshi is actually a very beautiful person, man. I love Neshi.
Twitch.tv/OnnieEevie.
Mm-hmm.
Is that your URL? I follow you.
Yeah, yeah, it actually is.
Okay, nice. And youtube.com/BenGG.
Legacy Crusaders.
Legacy Crusaders, that was it here. I'm sorry. It's
all good.
Your giant logo, but how can I miss it? And
easily missed.
Everyone in Coder's chat is already subbed to me, so there's no point in shouting on youtube.com/that'shim.
One last shout out to Yugioh Shira, our sponsor. He makes the playmat you see right above there. Well, it's a background, not a playmat. And also all the little art you can see currently of MBT, Shiggy, Slifer, Stevie, Yugioh, everything, Dylan, Tracy, Coder. I mean, there's too many people for your name. But he does a lot of art for us, so definitely go there if you want to get playmats, Guy Striker playmats, and like field centers, stuff like that. So thank you guys for watching.
Stream, be sure to watch it back on youtube.com/Scapegoat
Nah, I suck. Anyway, thank you. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. I'll catch you guys later.
Bye.
Later.
Bye-bye.